Russo'sBrand.com, where the pros are the pros.
Well, some possible drama with Corey Graves at WWE. He was not on the first 2 episodes of Raw on Netflix doing his usual color commentating. He was replaced by Pat McAfee, and then Graves appeared on NXT instead. Well, he put out this post on social media. Imagine chasing your dream, then being told, not deciding, that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream. Then you dedicate your life to something dream adjacent and being pretty effing awesome at it. And then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not famous enough for your own job, just in case you've wondered where I've been. So he's referencing Pat I'm assuming by this, Pat McAfee, the bigger name, known mainstream. They wanted him on Netflix. That's probably the reason that they gave Graves.
Yeah.
And so he then put out another tweet. I've got a lot to say. Don't miss WWE NXT tonight on the CW. And he hashtagged WWE NXT. He tagged the CW. So then people at this point are like, oh, it's probably a work. But then he never appeared. He wasn't on the show. And then he deleted all the tweets. And he hasn't been he hasn't said anything or been on anything since.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a work. That sounds like he stepped across the line and stepped on somebody's toes, which rightfully so. I mean, if it is a work, hey, good for you. You're clearly, you're really blurring the lines between reality and fiction now. To what end, I don't know. But something tells me it's probably not a work, which means, in my opinion, and I've never agreed with going out in the neighborhood and sharing the dirt from the family inside that happened inside the house. I try to advise against that all the time. These young people have a tendency to do this and use social media as their way of a sounding board and trying to hold people accountable, as opposed to just going and having a direct conversation with the person and then maybe getting a bit of more insight into why certain decisions were made. Case in point, I'm sure it has nothing to do with Corey being on a personal level. It was simply a matter of necessity for WWE that they had to present the best face on Netflix and put people they felt would be significant enough to draw a very large number to demonstrate their ability to do so. So I can understand, what Pat McAfee brings to the table. I can also relate to why it would upset Corey Graves, but I don't think going to social media was the correct way to handle it.
Well, Al, can I be the devil's advocate for a second?
Sure.
Because think about, there's a new game today, man. And Al, you talk about all the time, and people, Al, again, you talk about this all the time because you're old, because you're bitter, because you're this, because you're this. Guys your age, back in your prime, you had to work with freaking broken limbs, torn muscles, because like you said, there was no guaranteed money. You didn't work, you didn't get paid.
Right. Yeah.
Period. End of story. Now, think of Corey Graves for a second, because I don't doubt this for a second. First of all, man, he's been an announcer for a very long time.
Right.
That's guaranteed money. Corey Graves is an employee. That's guaranteed money. Now, I would assume and I would hope during that time, he's had the ability to save a lot of money. A lot of money.
I would hope so, yeah.
Okay, right. So he's saving a lot of money. He's got a nice little bank account. So now this is a shoot. His feelings are hurt because he was taking off the show. And, Al will be the first to tell you, bro, if you're in the freaking wrestling business, check your ego at the door. Because if Corey Graves can't understand that Pat McAfee is going to be a bigger draw than him on television, I don't know what to say. That's business. That has nothing to do about how good Corey Graves is or isn't. That's business.
It's about appealing to network executives.
Exactly.
That's what you're trying to do.
Yes.
And because they're ultimately going to decide whether you live or die on the air.
Yeah. So now, Al, think about this for a second. Corey Graves floats this out on social media.
Yeah.
He knows there's this money mark Tony Khan sitting there looking to grab every WWE scrap. So by him throwing that out there it's through Tony Khan. Is another talent now going to get back to him and say, hey, Corey, if something happens to go awry with your WWE contract, there's X amount of dollars waiting for you over here. So in other words, did he purposely put this out there for that reason?
I don't think so. I'm not saying he didn't. I think the likelihood is that he got his feelings hurt. He got his ego bruised, and he put it out there because he was speaking out when he really should have handled it with a more direct conversation, with Triple H or whomever it might be that makes those, that he feels like he could voice that too. And that, and just say, I just want you to know I was upset, and I was hurt and felt a little disrespected that I was not included on the first two broadcasts on Netflix. I was relegated down to NXT, and that, even that's a little touchy. You got to be careful of how you have that conversation. But you're taking an incredible risk if the strategy is, I'm going to pitch this out there so that way Tony Khan gets a word of this, and now, I've got an option that they'll come and scoop me up, which is, he might be assuming that they might. But the last I checked, and I don't really get much of an opportunity to watch either one, but they seem to have a commentary team in place with Taz, and Taz is in that role of what Corey Graves would have been as far as being a color analyst. And let's face it, Taz does a great job, and has lots of years of experience, both in WWE and in TNA, and now in AEW. He's been there doing that for quite some time. So for Corey to supplant, Taz and take him out of that spot would not be an easy thing to accomplish. And that's an incredible roll of the dice, because to a degree, now if he upsets them to where they go, you know what, you can go away. We'll just release you. Since you're so upset, we'll release you because you embarrassed us on social media. Then, he's taken a risk, because now he's burned the bridge with WWE, and he's still a young guy. Let's face it. He's not long in the tooth. So he's still got a lot of years that he can, be out there working. And if Tony Khan goes, well, we just don't have a spot for him right now, well, he's stuck. And no matter how much money he's saved, I don't know if he's saved enough to where he has life-changing money to where he can now, I could just coast for the next 40 years. And if he does, God bless him, good for him.
Yeah.
But if he don't, well, then he's going to have to pick up and do something. And, he's put himself in a position to where, right now he's got a great spot. He's on TV. He's doing color commentary every single week. He's got a great position with the company. Why jeopardize that?